I just listened last night out in my friend's garage
With
at
a cold
wedding.
one, I hope.
At one. Welcome to Song Album Career. I'm Chris Bragg, and with me is David Thurmier. And today we're going back to 2000, and we're going to talk about a very popular hit song from a icon, a diva of pop music, and that is Miss Britney Spears. You wouldn't expect us to
Ooh,
be talking
talk
Britney
about going
Spears
out
here.
of our comfort
Yeah,
zone here.
and we're going to talk about her 2000 release song, Oops, I Did It Again. Now, Dave, it is Pride Month as we record this, and in my neighborhood here in Andersonville, I'll walk by certain clubs and they're having Britney night.
Mm,
Britney Spears had this whole thing the last 10, 15 years where she had a very messy family situation, and there was the Free Britney movement. And
yeah.
I think it's taken Britney Spears to this new place of a hero, an icon of the time. At the time that this came out, though, she was a teen pop star, okay, who had one release, which was huge. She had a lot of hits on it. Baby One More Time, right?
Which
Well,
might sound a lot like this one.
yeah, I think it's intentional.
Okay.
So anyway, she had this big hit, Baby One More Time, and a few follow-up hits from that album. So many a pop star has tanked after their first release, right? Tiffany, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
What was Tiffany's second album? Does anybody remember? No.
No.
So Britney Spears needed a big hit, and I think that this track was designed to be a sort of tongue-in-cheek, okay, here's my second record, here's my second big, huge, massive hit. And so this Oops, I Did It Again, I think is a
Hmm.
perfect sequel kind of second album lead track. It's very interesting in that way.
Haven't thought about it that way. Because I only was looking for the musical
Yeah.
connections. Part of the thing about people like Britney Spears and Taylor Swift and the Backstreet Boys and all of these groups at that time period is that they had the same composer, same songwriter.
That's
And,
right.
and this guy, Max Martin, who's a Swedish songwriter, just churned out hundreds of tunes.
Yeah, I Want It That Way.
That's right.
That's
And
the way it is from
Perry,
Dion.
Celine Dion. Yeah, just
Shake It Off from Taylor Swift, the
right.
biggest. Everybody knows that song.
So this guy's a real hit maker.
Mm.
And so he took the first song that you mentioned, Baby One More Time, and then this one, which you can tell they're written by the same person. And
Yeah.
then you put Britney in there, and she's got the attitude, the sass, the kind of diva nature that it's a
Hmm.
formula. And I can see why it was very popular because it has a certain star power. And the topic, I have to say, is interesting, or the framing of it, let's say.
Yeah.
The Oops, I Did It Again sounds really dumb because I mean, it kind of is dumb title, but the premise behind the song is a little more interesting.
Yeah, it's like a coy girl sort of teasing. It's implied that maybe it's not going to go anywhere. Her being a young woman, we can get into the whole, she was a very over sexualized teenage girl at the time by all of society. That's a well worn territory if you watch the documentaries, Britney versus Spears on Netflix, Framing Britney Spears on Hulu.
Hmm.
It'll go into all of that, how she's an over sexualized young teen. There were disgusting things like countdown to legality sites and stuff like
Ugh.
that, but still innocent enough that a major line in this track is, I'm not that innocent.
Yeah.
But the song kind of implies nothing's going to happen between us. Oops, I led you on.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's a little tongue in cheek.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know sex sells, and especially all you have to do is watch the video for this song, and it's
Oh yeah.
very sexualized as
Yeah.
well. And so you become famous, especially if you're a young female, attractive female, you're gonna get that's the marketing. It's since time immemorial,
Yeah.
and here it is.
Great. I did watch the video. Great
Yeah.
video, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah, it
And
is.
she's in this iconic red leather outfit
Yep.
in space or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. It's a fun watch. But anyway, back to the song. Yes, it's a odd title, but it is very catchy, very much holds up. The tune overall is a good melody for sure. So the intro of the song is very strange. So
Yeah.
it's Baby One More Time starts very ba da da dun dun. So very
Yeah.
simple. And it's like they're taking that same pattern, but they're like churning it through a production machine to come up with this weird sort of whirring sort of
Kind of industrial sound.
yeah,
Mm.
to make it more futuristic or something.
And both songs share also being in a minor key, which is also a little unusual for a real straight ahead pop song. And actually, that must maybe it's a Max Martin thing because the one song I really do because I Want It That Way. I've always liked that song. I'm a sucker for
Yeah.
that tune. And that
Hmm.
does have some minor key stuff as well. But this one, sometimes I feel that when I listen to this, that Britney's not even singing it because it's either so processed or she's either such chorus or there's a lot of people on it. I don't know. Do you feel that she's even the star?
I just listened last night out in my friend's garage
With
at
a
1
cold
a
one, I hope.
at 1 a.m. with a cold one to Toxic, okay?
Okay.
Which is a great Britney song, and she sings really well on that one. On this, she's doing sexy baby voice the
Baby
whole
voice.
time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
innocent.
innocent.
Oh. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's not quite, it's not great. It might be better to go seek out a Britney live performance if you really want to hear her
Mm,
singing this.
yeah.
But there is a very weird part of this song, Dave.
There is.
The bridge. So I
Yeah.
guess the bridge. So everything breaks down, goes, "Pew." It's like things
Yeah.
are shutting down, and it goes to this different scene, which I think's taking place at a train station because you
We're,
hear all aboard.
we're on the Titanic,
It's the
is what
first
we're
time.
doing.
I don't think they're on the Titanic. I
We're
think
getting
she's
on the
about to get
Titanic.
on a train. Why would she be getting on the Titanic?
I don't know.
But they
Supposedly.
reference the Titanic. The voice says, Brittany, before you go, there's something I want you to have. And then she says, oh, it's beautiful. But wait a minute. Isn't this? And he says, yeah, this is. But I thought the old lady dropped it in the ocean at the end. Baby, I went down and got it for you. Ah, you shouldn't have. That's the
Mm,
bridge.
that's the
All
bridge.
spoken. So bizarre. So
Yeah.
this song that either thinks that Titanic was a documentary and that it actually happened that an old lady threw the thing at the end, or it exists in the world of Titanic.
Yeah.
She's not getting on the Titanic, but she's years late after the lady throws the thing. It's just so strange. It's so
Very strange.
oddly
It,
so unusual.
yeah, and it's like cuts this yeah, you're listening to it and you're wondering what's going on, what happened to the song because you have the verse chorus typical form and then just takes a real turn and then it comes back to
Yeah.
the beginning again.
Yeah.
I don't know, odd.
Yeah. But overall, I think it's a catchy song.
Yeah,
The Britney version now.
the Britney version.
Catchy song, good song. It sticks with you. One of her better songs, not her best song. Toxic,
Yeah.
maybe One More Time. A few other ones I think are stronger. That's another one
Yeah.
than this, but certainly not a bad song at all. And
No, and it was a big hit. It didn't get
yeah,
to number one, but I think it got to number nine
yeah,
in the US. That's pretty good.
yeah,
And, certainly, yeah, it says peaked at number nine on Billboard Hot 100, initially peaked at numbers one and 27 on the mainstream top 40 and adult top 40 charts. So, yeah, certainly a big hit.
Yeah.
And she was at that time, we're talking the turn of the century here, and she
Yeah.
was really a big commercial powerhouse at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. This solidified it, I think.
That's
That
right.
was my point is she could have easily gone the way of Tiffany or many other pop stars who had one big album and then not a good follow-up. And this follow-up was strong. It's smart to use Max Martin again, smart
Hmm.
to do all the production tricks. And then the appearances where you can watch her play this on SNL, the
Oh, yeah,
VMAs,
that's right.
TRL. Like she was just all over the place at the time and just really did a very good job promoting it. Now, this album was just re-released for, you want to feel old? The 25th anniversary.
Oh, God.
New release with bonus versions and shoddy bonus versions, by the way. One of them's a typical like dance club mix,
Mm.
nothing to write home about. But re-released now on streaming, and I saw it in the record store. How much do you think the two disc bonus
Mm.
disc Britney Spears Oops, I Did It Again re-release costs you in the stores?
Are we talking vinyl?
Yes, vinyl
Then we're
record.
probably two. If we're going Beatle prices, it would be 40.
40? Guess again, Dave. $99.
Oh, no way.
I was stunned.
That's insane.
I'm like, who's buying $99?
Oh,
It was like a thick cover and
yeah.
like real good. I'm sure there's essays and stuff in there, but
Wow.
I'm not that big of a,
Talk about a niche market. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
They're
wow.
not that innocent for
No.
dumping that price on there.
No
Um,
way.
Now, cover versions. I'm gonna start with right behind me. Now, I don't have any Britney Spears in my collection, but I do have everything Richard Thompson's ever
Yes.
done in my collection. And behind me is the CD and also the DVD, which also came with separate CDs of a separate concert, both of his concert called A Thousand Years of Popular Music, which the concept of that came out when Playboy asked him to do best songs of the millennium.
Millennium. Yes,
So
thousand of millennium.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he put this track from 1400s, this
Yeah.
this sea shanty and that kind of thing, and they never published it, but it gave him an idea to do a concert to show the similarities of music over the centuries. And here's what he said before he performed it. I'm going to read it verbatim. This is a song by what might be considered a rather crass pop artist. Just
Yeah.
my kind of person.
Uh,
It's a kind of classic pop song. And if we take it out of the original hands and give it a slightly different interpretation, perhaps we can reveal its splendor if it has any. Strangely enough, its chord sequence is reminiscent of other centuries, and just for fun at the end, we're going to play it in the style of the 16th century just to show that everything comes around again. Richard Thompson is a Scottish, if you don't know who Richard Thompson is, Scottish artist. He played with Fairport Convention, Richard and Linda Thompson, and he's a great, fantastic guitarist, but he's got a Scottish sort of voice
got a
and
brogue. Yeah.
yeah, and so instead of oops, he says oops. But I love this version. It's amazing version. It really solidified, oh, I think this is actually a good song.
Mm,
And it adds something mildly sinister
yeah.
to, especially a man singing it, I think. It's like I'm playing and toying with you. So, yeah.
I liked it. I know for anyone who doesn't know Chris, Richard Thompson is one of his most favorite musical artists of all time. I've been hearing about Richard Thompson since we were 19 years old, but I like this version. He throws in that sea shanty or chant thing towards the end of the song, and it suddenly just jerks to that version, and it
Mhm.
works pretty well. It's just acoustic, and I think it shows that Max Martin's got a good compositional craft, even if the lyrics are silly sometimes or the way they're sung by Britney. There's something to it, I think,
Yeah.
there, that you get out of his version that makes you hear it differently.
Yes. Now, speaking of Max Martin, there was a jukebox musical. We were talking about a jukebox musical
Yeah.
recently, a much worse one.
Oh, a really bad
Uh,
one on our
th
Beatles channel. Yeah.
then the Max Martin jukebox musical that uses all of these hit songs of his. He has as many number one, he has more number one songs than John Lennon. Did you know that?
No, not surprised. There's
Yeah.
you Apple Music has a Max Martin songwriters playlist, and it's just one hit after another on there.
Yeah. The jukebox musical and Juliet has a version which you can hear very good singing and strings sung by Lorna Courtney and Melanie Labari. Very good. Nice version of that. So check that one out. There's Rainary, spelled Reinaeiry, who is a singer-songwriter, enjoys writing love ballads and theatrical pieces.
Oh
If you
boy.
want to hear a very dramatic emo version of this with piano and strings, that go to Rainary.
Yeah.
Scott Bradley's postmodern jukebox featuring Haley Reinhardt, which is a very
Who are these people?
jazzy. I'm telling you, I dive as deep as I can
I
dive
I know you
to
do.
find these cover versions. This one is a jazzy take, oversung, something a
Yeah.
little novelty about that whole project, if you ask me. Ashley Park from the Emily in Paris season 4. I know Dave has watched all seasons of Emily in Paris, of course,
You could
so
be
he knows.
speaking Greek to me
Yeah.
right now. I don't know what you're saying.
Anyway, Ashley Park's version sounds like a cover version of the Scott Bradley version. It's the exact same arrangement.
Hmm.
I don't know what that's all about. Finnish melodic death metal band Children of Bottom.
Let's keep coming here.
Yeah. Are you a big Finnish death metal guy, Dave?
I have all of that
Yeah.
genre. Yeah.
This is a really, it starts with a like in the first 10 seconds. It's
Great.
ridiculous. And then the metal guitars are fine and the metal drumming and stuff. It's not really I'm not a big metal guy, but it
Yeah.
does sound good, the guitars and the drumming, but the singing is so idiotic and all. It doesn't even it sounds like a guy making fun of a
Yeah.
metal singer. But the only part I like is instead of that necklace thing, they just talk in Finnish. I don't even know what they're saying.
Oh, well,
But
that's
it
different.
that part actually sounds cool.
Okay.
Children of Bottom, Bodom.
Wow.
And then Max Rabe and the Palace Orchestra.
Max Rabe,
Rabe.
he's a German lounge singer who,
That's
when I
right.
took German, I remember having to listen to some of his songs. Yeah. Not
Having
this
to
one.
listen to.
That wasn't my style, but he's good. He's very good.
It sounds if you wished Oops, I Did It Again was putting on the Ritz.
That's right. It's like 1920s, 30s
Exactly.
song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then of course there's your typical Glee or
Yeah, I heard
Glee
the
and
Glee
Michelle,
version. Yeah.
your Masked Singer performance by Tori Spelling.
Oh. Wow.
Selena Gomez did this on tour. And then you gotta go see, there's two X Factor performances. One's Rochelle, who won X Factor. Some of you might know that, a juiced up sort of dance floor version. But Jedward,
Oh.
which I thought the singing on Jedward was awful, but there were two twin, like teenage boys, and they performed in red suits from the video, the red suits from the video. And then when the whole part with the necklace, they do it to each other, so it's particularly bizarre.
Yeah.
Because speaking the necklace love stuff, it's just really weird, but worth a look.
Yeah.
A laugh. This is this isn't, we're not talking about the most serious song here.
No, it's not Let It Be or something here. No.
But
it's fascinating that it has had such a legacy.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that is because of Britney's charisma, and yeah, it's got all these different meanings that you can exploit behind it. You can highlight behind it, depending on who's singing and the style you're in.
That's right. It could be sassy. It could be, like I said, a little darker, sinister. The minor key, you said, it's not a love song.
No, not a happy, upbeat love song.
Yeah. So it's interesting track and one I'll keep going back to. Maybe My algorithm really thinks that I want to hear nothing but Britney Spears right now, by the way. So,
I bet. And it is, I have to say, it is very catchy. If you haven't heard it in a while, it will stick with you. It's da 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 da, because the melody is small. Da
yeah.
da 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 da, da 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 da
Da,
da, da
da, da, da,
da
da.
da da. It's very tight, so anybody can sing it. And I think that makes it easier.
You gotta do the
Oh yeah, do her
well.
thing with the all the moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's another song for the books. We're gonna have links to all of those tracks, links to if you want to buy that $99 Britney Spears thing on Amazon. We'll have a link to that here in our show notes. And we also do for every song we do a playlist. So every one of these weird ass
The
things,
fish.
death metal. I was just like, wow.
That's amazing.
But anyway, they'll all be on a playlist. I'll put a link to the playlist in the notes, but you can go to get any of the playlists of any of our things just on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. If you hate us, please tell your enemies. And we will be back very soon, either Dave, myself, or both of us, with another song or album or career.